Welcome to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. I want to thank all of you for listening. Please subscribe, click on that thumbs up button, turn on the notifications. Well, our Pistons won another gut-wrenching game. It was very frustrating for us Piston fans, and I'll tell you, things are easier when, like last year, we were like this up-and-coming team, and now we're in first place, and every game means a lot. I'm watching the scoreboard with the Eastern Conference like every night and seeing who wins or not, because it all matters. We won 122 to 116. We're 18-5. And that's what matters the most. Today, I'm going to talk about a potential trade. Who do we trade for? The rumors are Lauri Markkanen and Michael Porter Jr. and Trey Murphy III. And so I'm going to discuss those trades and what might happen. But yeah, it's been the last 6 games have been a struggle. 7 games now. The last 7 games have been a struggle. And I think part of the problem is, it's hard for JB and for the team to get adjusted to the rotation because the rotation's just changing. Tonight we didn't have so many turnovers. And so that makes a difference. We just been having way too many turnovers in a lot of the other games. We had 13 turnovers tonight. One of them drove me crazy. We were coming down the court late in the fourth quarter, and Duncan just throws a lazy pass, no pressure on anybody, and it gets stolen for a dunk. But he played a great game. I don't think we win this game without him. But that's our 11th win this year by single digits, but it was ugly, man. 83 free throws were shot. 64 fouls were called. We had 21 fouls called on us in the first 13 minutes of the game, and it just was hard to watch. But yeah, Duncan came up with 2 huge threes at the end, and one of them was just a great shot. It was contested, but the other one was shot clock running out. He was moving towards the right on the right wing, and it was really contested, and he nailed it, and that was huge at the time. So Ron Holland, he came up big again. He drives me nuts still. He sometimes do you want him out there? Do you trust him? I don't know, but he was 17 points, 6 for 11, 3 for 6 on threes. Of course, once he banked one in, so it's complete luck. And then he shoots 2 in a row. I mean, the pressure's on. He shoots 2 threes in a row. He was open, and he misses them, right? It's like, what are you doing, Ron? And then, I don't know. Cade hasn't been getting as many shots. He shot only 15 times. He was 7 for 15, and they fouled him a lot late. He made some big buckets and some tough drives late. He was 13 for 14 from free throw line for 29 points, but he got fouled a lot earlier in the game. They're calling all these fouls, but they didn't. But yeah, we played better against their zone. Of course, you're going to look better against the zone if you have Duncan out there. That makes a difference. So yeah, it just takes the energy right out of you. We missed a whole bunch of layups. But anyway, I'm just going to jump right in and talk because some of you might want to hear my thoughts about the trade. Somebody in the comments in my last podcast mentioned about the trade. So here's the deal. My favorite player is Trey Murphy III. I don't think they could ever trade him. He's 25 only. He's 6'8". He's averaging 20 points a game, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, which is really good. He's shooting 46%. He's barely 37% on threes, and he's 93% on free throws. But he is the prototype of what we need. And there's other players like that we need. But he's a solid, maybe above average defender, and he's on this contract. So they're not going to want to trade him just even because of the contract he's on. He's $25 million this year, $27 next year, $29 the next year, and $31 the next year. That is just unbelievable. And so what are the Pelicans going to want for him? They're going to have to want Ivy. Of course, Ivy's got to start playing better and get to play more. Like he hardly played tonight. He hardly touched the floor. He played great the last game, and he played 10 minutes tonight. So it's hard to say exactly what wrong, but they're going to want probably Ivy and Holland or something like that. And obviously we would have to trade Tobias. Oh, I guess for him, we might not have to. We would have to give up money-wise. We could maybe trade them Levert or Duncan and get up to the right amount of money if we traded Ivy and Holland. And of course, do they want Ivy? He's a restricted free agent. I don't know if we had to do a sign and trade. Holland, I don't think. So here's the thing. This is a real thing. Whether Trajan would trade Holland, Trajan's not going to want to trade Holland because he was his only really true draft pick that he's made. And so, other than Chaz Lanier. So he's not going to want to trade Ron. And so they're going to want something. Their teams are going to want, and then they're probably going to want 3 first-round picks. And do you want to do that? Do you want to give up 3 first-round picks? And I think other teams might have better offers because our 3 first-round picks probably aren't going to be very high. So I don't know what, but that's my guess of what they would want. They're going to want somebody good. I don't think that we would ever trade Asar, but I think if we wanted the next guy, well, here's the thing. I think Michael Porter Jr., I never have been a big fan of his, and actually sometimes, and he did some things even when he got traded to the Nets. He said and did some stupid things on social media, but he's 6'10", he's only 27. He's averaging 25 points a game. Of course, he's on a crappy team, so he gets a lot of shots. But he did good. In his 7 years with a great team at Denver, he averaged 17 points a game, and he's getting 7.5 rebounds, 3 assists, which is good, 49%. He's shooting 38.5% on threes this year. His career average is 40.5%, and he can shoot. He is 6'10", and he gets it off quick. He can be running away from the basket, catch it on top with the guy right on him, and he can stick it. So he can make tough threes. And obviously, after especially those last 2 games we didn't have Duncan in, we need that. But he's 81% free throw shooter, and he's been great his whole career. But like he's only making $38 million this year and $40 million next year. So he's only under contract for this year and next year. So I would think they would want less. So my thing is that we could trade. I would like to see if we could trade like Ron and 1 first-round draft pick to get him, since this contract isn't so long. But they probably will want more. They probably can get a better deal from somebody. That's the thing. When you consider all the trades, you have to consider what you have to give up. And if the team is, even if you're willing to give up a lot, are they going to trade him to you, or is somebody going to give a better offer? We still don't know what's happened with Micheal Alexander-Walker. Did Trajan? I would loved him. We all wanted him, and he's even better than we ever thought he was going to be. And did Trajan try to get him for 2 years instead of 4 years? I don't know. Man, I would have gave him 4 years right away. But he's Michael Porter Jr., a good rebounder. He's young. He's right in his prime. And we would have a chance, if we didn't have to give up too much, to reset. If he worked out, fine. If we could try to re-sign him. If he didn't work out, we wouldn't be stuck with a player that's making tons of money. Well, we wouldn't be stuck with Trey Murphy's salary. He's like making crap. So Lauri Markkanen, though, he's 28, still in his prime, 7'1", averaging 28 points a game, 6.4 rebounds, two assists, shooting 47%, and he's shooting 36%. So he's not just lights out, but he's shooting 90% on free throws. But he's making 46 this year, 46 next year, 49, and then 53 million. So he's under contract for a lot of years. So if he's not the guy that we want, and again, Danny Ainge is legendary. Lauri's really upped his trade value, and so for sure it would have to probably be Asar and maybe Ivy and 3 first-round picks. I don't know. It would take a load. I mean, you look at what Orlando had to give up to get Desmond Bane, and so I would think we'd have to give up more than that. They gave up like 5 picks, I think. I'm not sure, but so anyway, it's a lot to think about. And again, you can't trade somebody unless the other team's willing to, and you got to be able to know what you're willing to give up. And I still think the way that Trajan's looked, that he's leaning towards being patient and working out these guys and seeing where they can go. And but I would say that the Michael Porter Jr., and again, he would be my third choice by far, but if we could get him for a cheaper price, and then again, we're not locked into him. Again, Trey Murphy is my first choice because he's 25 and he's cheap. But again, that probably makes him even more valuable, I would think. So, the last 7 games we've turned it over too much. We've struggled with the zone. JD hasn't been playing good. JD came out tonight ripping it and playing great. Duran did, and then he didn't play so good in the second half. And we haven't been shooting threes good. Cade's three's been awful tonight. He was 2 for 4 tonight. And you watch him. He is better shooting threes when they're contested because he has to lift the shot over the defender and he arcs it up. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he has been like the worst in the league in wide open threes. He doesn't all the time get wide open threes, but when he does, he misses. Like he's in the bottom 2% in the whole league. So, yeah, we got to see what happens. But Beef Stew, man, he had 4 blocks again tonight. JB says he's the best defensive player in the NBA, and it's not even close. But they come in there and they try to dunk, and he just puts it back. And then one time, Shaden Sharp, who's the best dunker, one of the best dunkers in the league, in my opinion, and he can get up higher than anybody, and he went up there and he tried to dunk, and Stu blocked it, and they called a foul on Stu. And luckily, we had our challenge left. We challenged it. We won the challenge. And so, yeah, that was incredible. But, yeah, those 2 blocks were, and all 4 blocks were huge. A guy came in and drove in, a big guy, and he drove down the lane, saw Stu standing there. He pivoted back out, and I think he traveled. They didn't call it, but I think he drug his pivot foot a little bit. And so, it's not just the blocks he gets. He also is making people either miss shots that he doesn't block, or they're trying to, or they're not shooting when they should. But yeah, it's just a lot of excitement. Too much for my heart, I guess. But big play in the game. Tobias goes down there, and they just bam right across the arm. He's going in for a shot. Man, can't believe they didn't give him a technical because he's just yelling at the ref. He should have been getting back on defense, but they just hammered him. The Trailblazers come down. This is like with 3 minutes left. Jeremy Grant, who had a phenomenal game, Jeremy Grant that used to play for us, and he hits a 3, and he gets fouled. Asar fouls him, and so it's an and 1. He makes the 3, gets the free throw because he got fouled. Then they review it and says it was a flagrant foul because he ran underneath him. Here's what I don't like. I think it was the wrong call. I think it was a bad call. I mean, when Jeremy Grant, they take off, they're way behind the 3-point line, and he jumped way forward. And then I think as he went, he kind of almost tried to step on Asar on purpose and fall down on purpose. That's what it looked like for me, that he did a great job of faking it. But so he gets 3 points plus makes the free throw. Then they get the ball out of bounds. Then they score. So we're up by 1. And then they get a 6-point possession. They score 6 points, and then they're up by 5. And so that, I thought, man, things were not looking good right then. So, we have Jeremy Grant, 29 points, 8 for 19, 4 for 9 on threes. He took the ball to the basket at the end. Really tough, which he never did for us, really. Danny Advia, who I said that I would have been my second choice to draft in 2020 when we took Killian. I wanted Therese Halliburton first. Advia was my second choice. When he was playing at Washington, my brother made fun of me because he said, "Oh, isn't Advia the guy that you wanted? He's scoring like 11 points a game and he's not doing that great, but he's scored like 30 points the last 4 games. He scored 35 tonight. And he's tough, and he's passing the ball. He passed up some shots. So so I was right about Danny Advia. Shaden Sharp. I wanted Shaden Sharp in the draft where we took Jaden Ivey. And so I knew he's a freak of nature. I knew he could shoot, but tonight he shot bad, and other nights he shoots bad. He doesn't. He's got all the tools, the physical talent in the world, but he was 10 for 25 tonight and 1 for 8 on threes, 7 for 7 on free throws, but he had 28 points. But still, I like Ivy better. I hope. I don't know. I don't know why he played only 10 minutes tonight, but we'll see. So, the Hornets beat the Raptors tonight, so I keep an eye on all these. The Raptors were really tearing it up, and they had won a whole bunch in a row. And so the Hornets aren't going to be challenging us, but I want all these teams to lose. The 76ers beat the Bucks, so I'm okay with that. But the Sixers might, who knows how they might propel themselves up in the standings. But I'm just glad. So the Bucks will be coming in tomorrow night. I'm going to the game with my granddaughter, and they're going to be playing back-to-back just like we played back-to-back. But the nice thing for us, all these things matter. We're playing back-to-back, and we're playing at home. And they're playing back-to-back, and they've probably been, both games probably been on the road. And this also matters. The revenge, when a team, just like the other day, the Nuggets blew out the Jazz. And so the very next night, they had the same two teams played back-to-back nights, and I had an inkling something different could happen, and the Jazz beat the Nuggets, the great Denver Nuggets. And so, yeah, but the fact that you get beat bad, I've seen it happen in the NBA Finals where a team wins by 40, and then the next time another team wins by 20 or something. I've seen it happen. But Asar, he did a good job on Advia, even though he scored 35. He made things hard for him, and he's, again, when somebody scores a lot of points, it's not always when Asar's guarded him. So, but he was 6 for 12. And I'm going to tell you that he ended up with a good percentage. He missed a lot of easy ones. Our whole team missed easy ones. Cade's missed some layups. Javonte Green missed a layup. Duran missed an easy one. And I guess they're not all that easy, but they're ones that you have to make to win. And he, even though he was 6 for 12, the 6 shots he missed were pretty easy. So, he was 0 for 1 on threes. I was surprised. Late in the fourth quarter, we did have a little bit of a lead, and so he was wide open for a 3, and he shot it. He was only 3 for 5 from the free throw line. We shot terrible from the line. So we were 36 for 48, 75%. They were 32 for 35, and they shot 91%. Again, we got a whole bunch of free throws in the last minute because they just kept fouling, trying to come back, and Cade just kept on making them. So that it's a little bit deceptive, the discrepancy in the free throws. But yeah, Asar scored 15 points. He only had 1 turnover, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Tobias had the great game last game, and tonight he didn't. He was 31 minutes, 3 for 10, 1 for 3 on threes, and 3 for 4 on free throws, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 10 points. So you also know if we make a trade for a guy that makes a lot of money like Larry Markkanen, we have to include Tobias. So it'll be Tobias and a really good young player or 2, and then probably at least 3 first-rounders to get Larry Markkanen. So that's why, I'd rather have him by far, and I'd rather have Trey Murphy, but who knows how cheap we could get Michael Porter Jr. Well, it's going to be interesting to see. So Duran started out better. He ended up playing 27 minutes, 6 for 11, 6 for 9 on free throws, 8 rebounds. But the killer was 6 turnovers. And he just loses the ball. Sometimes we just lost the ball under the basket one time. They jump out of bounds, save it, and they get a dunk. And there were just a bunch of hustle plays where they were, especially in the fourth quarter, where they just kept getting offensive rebounds. And we don't look like we have quite the same spark in us all the time. I mean, Ron has it, but a lot of our guys, including Cade, doesn't look like they have quite the same energy and spirit that they had before. And we started out this game, everything went wrong. We were getting killed at the very beginning, and just everything we did just turned out wrong. But Cade played 36 minutes, 7 for 15, 2 for 4 on threes. Like I said, 13 for 14 on free throws. He should have shot more than that. 4 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals. He had a block. He only had 1 turnover, and I think it was in the first quarter. And he threw a bad lob, I think, but he had 29 points. But he wasn't scoring. He got a lot of points in the fourth quarter, and he got a lot of free throws in the fourth quarter. Levert. So this, I'm all for JB playing guys less, and based on how they're playing that particular game. But I don't know. Levert, he had only played 16 minutes, 2 for 2 shooting, 0 for 1 from the line, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and which is really good for 16 minutes, but 4 points. So, yeah, it was weird. Stu played his normal 22 minutes. That's about what he usually runs, and he was 6 for 11 and 3 for 6 on. I'm sorry, that's not right. He was 3 for 7 and 0 for 2 on threes, 3 for 4 from the line. But 22 minutes, he had 1 rebound, so that's shocking. One thing that does happen when you go for blocks all the time, you take yourself out of rebound position. So the great Dennis Rodman, he could take charges, amazing, and he could block shots from the weak side. But when he started leading the league in rebounding, he wasn't going to do that. He was just going to go lay back and let him shoot it so he could try to get the rebound. So he would even steal rebounds from Lambeer and stuff. He would, when either both guys could have it. So Holland was 20 minutes, 6 for 11, 3 for 6. Like I said, he banked one of his threes in, but still he was 2 for 5 on free throws, which, again, that is tough when Tim and Nassar are so terrible from the free throw line. It hurts you. But he had 3 rebounds, 17 points, but he was certainly a big spark to the game, certainly a big difference maker. Ivy played only 10 minutes, 0 for 1, 2 for 2 on free throws, 3 rebounds in 10 minutes only. More rebounds than Stu got. It's weird. 2 assists in only 10 minutes. But Jenkins played 14 minutes. He was 1 for 4. So I don't know what his shooting percentage is the last 3 or 4 games, but it's not good. 0 for 1 on threes, 2 for 2 from the line, 1 rebound, 3 assists. Javonte Green played only 4 minutes. So here's the thing: when you're, if you're not going to play him, and how is he going to get in rhythm? You're playing him 4 minutes. You're better off giving the minutes to somebody else, in my opinion. I mean, and you don't feel an obligation to play B-Ball Paul after what he does every night that he plays. And so why are you obligated to play other guys? So I'm not sure. But yeah, we shot 41% from the line. They only shot 31% from the line. And but they got more rebounds. They out-rebounded us often. They got 18 rebounds, and we only got 13. We both had 54 rebounds. We had 13 turnovers. They had 17, and it seemed like they had more than that. They stepped over the line when they were trying to take the ball out after a made basket. They just stepped over the line. They made some big mistakes, some bad turnovers. So anyway, it'd be nice to have an easy game. JB got up there after the game and said, "These guys say they like these kinds of games. I don't." And Asar even joked when they interviewed him after the game and said, "Yeah, it wouldn't be so bad to have a couple blowouts here and there." But yeah, that's how I felt when I was a coach. I don't like just blowing out teams, but there's no easy games in the NBA. So if you get a blowout against anybody, you just enjoy it. So, but yeah, tomorrow I won't be doing a podcast, but I'm going to be down at watching the Pistons play the Bucks, and I hope that we pound them. So be the reason that someone feels heard, and go Pistons.